Welcome back to another exciting episode of Super Design Bowl post-game report with me, Billy. No Aaron today. I'm not sure what excuse he's giving me. He's a little pathetic. So let's get right into it. Let's introduce we're going to be talking Rams logos today. We had some really awesome Rams logos by our friends CJ Zilligen. Hopefully I got that right. You guys both have fucking hard names to pronounce. And Adam Eargle. Okay, let's bring them on right now. Hey, fellas, how's it going?
Great.
Good.
Do you like this view? This view's better. I like this view.
That's cool.
Welcome to the show. Tell me how I butchered your guys' names.
Nailed it.
Really?
Not quite mine. It's
Okay.
Gilligan, but with a Z, so Zilligen.
Zilligen.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to go Zilligen.
Yeah, that happens.
Is that Croatian? What is that?
I don't really know. I've been told it's German, so we're gonna go with that.
Okay, that makes sense. I got a German name too. And Eargle. Eargle sounds like just like someone had a typo with when they spelled the eagle. Wrong.
It's actually German too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
German boys.
Bavarian to be.
Oh yeah.
I guess specific.
We Germans make the best designers. Right. That's true. Well, welcome to the show, and thanks so much for participating in this stupid idea I have, and doing the even more stupid idea of this stupid YouTube show. Let's talk Rams logos. I'm gonna pop this up here. Actually, before we get into that, you guys are both in South Carolina, right? But you never met each other,
right?
And Adam, are you born and bred in South Carolina?
I am. Yeah, I'm just on the west side of Columbia.
West side of Columbia?
Yeah.
Okay. I can hear the accent. It's nice. And CJ, you're a new transplant to South Carolina.
Yeah, almost 2 years now. I'm in Greenville, the upstate.
Okay. You guys, is there like a rivalry, like a East Coast, West Coast rap battle thing going on?
No, I went to Clemson, which is like 30, 45 minutes from Greenville up in the upstate. So I'd much rather be up there than other places in the state. So I don't have any beef with it.
I've never been to South Carolina. I've been to North Carolina, but like South Carolina, I honestly don't really have much of an impression of South Carolina. Like is it I don't get an impression of it. Like, is it more like Carolinas, or is it more like Georgia? Is it more like
well, the upstate is the good thing about being in the Columbia area is you're 2 hours from the beach, 2 hours from the ocean. I mean, 2 hours from the mountains.
Oh, really?
Up.
That's
so
cool.
Up a little bit above where CJ is in Greenville, the mountains, and then go down to the beach. So it's kind of a mixture, really. I think there is some beef with the Low Country and the upstate, but
really?
I'm in the Midlands.
Is like the Low Country like the snobs, or is and the other guys are the hillbillies, or is it vice versa?
I don't know, CJ. What do you think?
You're asking the wrong person. I mean, I've been down here for 2 years. I'm from Chicagoland area, so it's all
the Low Country is comprised of both Myrtle Beach and Charleston, which are complete opposites. And there's quite a few hillbillies in Myrtle Beach, but Charleston's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
What's the sort of the design? Is there a lot of agencies in South Carolina, or is there like, you guys freelance? Are you guys working at agencies? What's your situation?
I've been working for myself since 2017, so I just kind of came down here because it's warm.
Yeah, because you can work from anywhere now, right? Yeah,
it's acceptable, I guess.
And I'm pretty much the same. There are agencies around, but there's a few good ones up in Greenville and Charleston area have a lot. Columbia's got a few. Charleston and Greenville, I'd say run the state in terms of that the creative parts. People from Columbia aren't gonna like hearing that if they see this. But
cool. You know what? I think we might be able to invite somebody else on the show. Someone just texted me. They're like, "Hey, I'm actually available now, so let's bring him on." I should have just probably did that behind the scenes. So I can't remember. This was so long ago. The Rams logo. Whose idea was it to do the Rams logo first? And because the Rams logo is so controversial these days. So
it wasn't my. It was basically assigned to me.
What's that?
When Joe reached out.
Oh, Joe reached out to you. Yeah.
He kind of just told me this is what.
And you're like, yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was like, and you're up against CJ, and I was like, shit.
I think everyone that sort of feeling. The whole competition aspect of it is very funny. It's because I personally sort of thrive on that. Like when I'm in the competition, I do way more work than I should be doing for something that's like for free, but I'm just so fucking competitive, and it actually does get the best work out of me. Did you guys feel pressure in that sort of way?
I think, well, I am the culprit behind the decision on the Rams logo when Joe reached out to me. And I think this was kind of around the time when the redesign was fresh.
Yeah.
And it was just in my mind, I'm like, I got to see what else I can do with this, because this is bothering me. So,
yeah, the redesign was very controversial.
Yeah.
What did you think of the redesign, Adam?
I wasn't too big of a fan. But it's like in the redesign, I guess you don't really know the parameters they were given.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, I have a hard time sort of critiquing a brand new logo. Like there's something okay about like talking smack about a logo that's 30 years old, but one that's 30 months old, it's like, okay, I could actually run into this guy at the design conference.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hurt anybody.
And I guess I'm kind of old school in the fact that like the gradient kind of made me feel uncomfortable.
I totally agree.
Not that I hated it. It doesn't feel like it has a place in a logo, I guess. And
especially in football.
And and use with embroidery and stuff like that. It's just
I totally agree. You know what? Let's look at their suite of logos. Can you guys see those pretty well?
Yeah.
The history of logos, and I think it's actually interesting to look at the early versions. Which, I mean, this looks like it was. I don't know if I can zoom in on this. It looks like it was scribbled on a cave wall.
It kind of looks like a fossil. Like
it totally looks like a fossil. These kind of logos are so interesting. What I do find interesting is they started in 1944. This looks so similar to the logo that they sort of have now.
Yeah.
And this is interesting. I mean, there's some weird corn on the cob, sort of octopus tentacle thing going on here. But they did simplify it and sort of clean it up in this one. And then they sort of reverted back to this. I mean, commercial artists existed in the 1940s. They could have hired somebody to just like draw them a nice ram, but I don't know. I don't know the situation. I don't know who they were getting, who like Nancy in the office, who they got to draw the logo for them back then. It's so interesting how the sort of industry has evolved.
Yeah, you gotta wonder if it was kind of like The Office when Ryan asked Pam to draw the logo, but he's just kind of trying to hit on her at the same time. He's like. He doesn't really want the logo for Dunder Mifflin, but he's just trying to smooth his way in, I guess.
I actually kind of like that one.
This one?
Yeah, I mean, it still has that like, that cliche modern sports logo aggression, but I mean, it's obviously, line weights are very thin, and it's probably a pain in the ass to try and replicate that in any, merchandise thing. But
there's something in design, and I don't know if this is just something that designers see or if normal public sees, but when something is like, when there's a naivete to a logo or a graphic, there's something charming about it, right? And what I mean is like when someone does something that looks crappy and it wasn't on purpose, you know what I mean? Like there's an innocence to it, like a naivete, right? So like there's some charm to these logos, because of their non-slickness, right? But it's still a little too ugly for me.
It's kind of intimidating too, because I can only imagine what sound is coming out of his mouth.
I kind of like it. It almost looks like a skull in the white.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, which would be a pretty cool, pretty badass logo. And then when we get to 1984, that's when the big change happens. This is really interesting. It almost feels like a still frame from a motion graphic to me.
Yeah, just all type.
Yeah. But interesting. And then they kind of do the Browns thing. I mean, the most iconic piece of the Rams branding is the helmet, right? It's the horn on the side of the helmet. I mean, that's everything. And so just making the logo the helmet makes some sense. It's obviously too fiddly. Like there's too much detail in this sort of thing. But it's an interesting idea. And then when they moved to St. Louis, I actually lived in St. Louis. I'm a St. Louis boy when the Rams moved to town. This logo is an abomination, if you ask me.
No, I mean, I can see a couple things going on with it, but it's not all working together very well.
It's not. I mean, it's a reflection of sort of, I don't know, the times, I guess. But in 2000, so they won the Super Bowl in 1999 with Kurt Warner. Big deal. And then right after that, they updated the branding. And now this is not.
And that's when they switched to gold.
Yeah, that's when they went to the gold. Yeah, a lot of people were going to the gold and the navy and doing stuff like that, sort of Notre Dame-esque. And obviously there's been a retraction from that now. Like everybody's going to just royal colors or primary colors, I mean. But I really don't hate the gold in the navy. There's nothing. I'll always like the gold in the navy, and the cleanup on this. The cleanup. I mean, if we look at the bunch, I mean, maybe you don't love this logo, but it's the cleanest to me. What do you guys think?
I like it. I think it's crafted very well. It looks, great on apparel. I think the horn, being the focal point of this, really translates well to the helmet too.
Yeah.
Kind of keeping consistent, but I've always liked this logo. I think it's really cool.
The only
parts I don't like are maybe the mouth and the eye. Like it's like a little too weird. But go ahead.
I think they could have simplified the eye a little bit more.
Yeah.
And the only thing that really kind of bothers me about it is it's almost got like an inconsistent highlight on it with the
light source.
It's on the back of the horn, but it's on the front of the head and it's on top of the horn.
That's a really good call. What's going on there? That might have just been one of those things where like, well, it looks right because it should be here, right? It should be on this
one. I would think so. And then on the inside of the other one.
Yeah. Now, you're absolutely right in here. But now we get to this. And like I don't want to talk. Yeah, like we said, like I'm not even going to say who the designer was who did this, but I know it was through Nike. But yeah, the gradients and the drop shadows and the Fibonacci template that they used on this stuff.
I can appreciate the depth. The shadows kind of on there, but I would have done it probably a different way. But I like that they kind of included that.
Yeah,
where the L sits in front.
Well, it raises an interesting conversation or discussion about like what the old school rules about what a logo needs to be, about being simplified, no gradients, no drop shadows, none of this kind of crap, because when a modern logo was being developed in the 60s and 70s, perhaps, they had to be faxed, it had to be photocopied, it had to be, Elstatted or whatever. We don't really have those limitations nowadays, except for when we're talking about screen printing or embroidery and stuff like that. Those limitations do exist to some degree, but other than that, we're probably 10 years away from someone having a permanently animated GIF as their logo. You know what I'm saying? Just because that's how it can live. Yeah. Why not everywhere be an animated GIF and that's your logo? So it's interesting. But let's look at so here's sort of the suite of where they're at right now. I think it's most successful in the typography, personally.
Yeah.
But then when it gets to here is where I'm losing it. What do you guys think?
To me, like Adam said, I can appreciate it, but it looks like, and now, I don't know what went on behind closed doors and what the overall goal for the project was, and, with respect to the designers that worked on this, it just seems like there was an idea that was forced to make happen. Yeah. Especially with the LA mark, because it's such a perfect circle, and it's the gradients involved, the stem coming off the A. It just seems like there was a lot going on that was forced to make happen with that.
Yeah, the idea of having the horn be a part of the A, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. And a lot of the design language that's set up in this and in the typography, with all the sharp angles, right? Like all the points, like that when this idea is brought over to the Ram's Head, they forgot about all that, and then now everything has got rounded edges. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's like these, apart from the actual horn shape, these to me don't match. They don't really go together at all.
And basically the horns that are on that Ram there, that's what they put on the helmet, correct?
Yeah,
it's almost pretty much identical to that.
Yeah,
but the Ram is at like a 3/4 view. Yeah, but it's supposed to be from the side on the helmet, so it's kind of weird to me in that sense.
I totally agree that the 3/4 view on the head with no light source, kind of, there's some definite, I could see where they're going with it, and there's some interesting things happening. And like we said, we don't know the behind the scenes of what the hell was going on and the decisions that the people in suits were making, but I wish this looked more like this. Like because this is a side view. Give me a side view of the head,
Yeah.
Give me this done in this style, and we good, right? Which kind of, CJ, is kind of what you did, in a way, right?
Yeah.
Which I think is the smart way to go. I thought this was, and this is sort of the old lockup. This never.
That's just weird because the type is real blocky, and then you have the horn on the R that's very rounded.
Yeah,
it just doesn't kind of mesh well for me.
Yeah, and so I think it was due for a refresh for sure.
Is that what they went? That's not what they went to when they came back, right? That was before,
No, I
or
guess
was it?
that's what they. I thought that's what they when they came back to LA.
Okay, yeah,
Unless somebody.
that's right, because they didn't go to that Ram until they were in St. Louis. So yeah, that has to be when they came back.
Yeah. So let's talk about your guys' matchup here.
I got crushed.
Well, sorry.
That's fine.
I wasn't going to say anything.
It's okay.
So we're going to start with Adam here, since that's how we do it. Let's before we get into it, let's hear what are your thoughts. What when you had the project, what were you thinking? What the hell were you thinking, Adam?
I just kind of was in the mode of I want to do a front on symmetrical look.
Yeah.
And I initially played around with that the R being the part of the head, or that being the horns, and then having the head come down. I just couldn't get anything to where I really liked it. But I kind of like the type, so I just kept it. And then I noticed after I did the head itself that there were these two little triangle parts on either side of the head that kind of left a negative space, and figured out I could kind of turn that into an L and an A. Yeah,
I didn't understand what it was.
It's kind of abstract.
Oh, okay.
But
because I thought I was like, are these earrings? What's going on here?
Yeah, it might not have been the greatest decision, but that's kind of what I tried to do.
I think it's a cool idea, but I don't. Maybe it would have read better if these were connected.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's a cool idea. Okay, I like that. I didn't see that. Yeah, I like a lot what's happening with your type here, and what you're doing. What's going on here? I think the M. I think it's got too many lumps, maybe.
Yeah, instead of that first little, I should have just gone into it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I really like that. I really love the A is awesome, and the S and the R. I really like what you got going on here, man. Yeah, if you could have figured out how to make this part a part of the horn. Easier said than done.
Yeah, it was. I actually was looking at my my sketches before we came on here.
Oh yeah.
And hold on, I think I might could pull it up.
I can isolate you, and we can see if you want to hold it up on your camera.
Let's see. I took a screen capture when it went by. Let's see.
So when you're sketching, do you sketch in a sketchbook, or you doing it straight on the computer? What's your process like typically?
So I started this actually I started in a sketchbook, but I usually just go straight to the iPad. But here's one thing I had with that's it actually with the S.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. That's a cool idea. I love it. I love the head and the negative space there. So you like to use Procreate?
Yeah, I use Procreate, and then I kind of sketch it out, and then I like to be able to see it with the color.
For me, color is always the last thought. I don't think.
Well, I always do everything one color, but I like to kind of see it in that main color in a way. Here's some.
Did either of you guys think about going back to the gold, or do you like the royal blue?
I like the royal personally.
Yeah, I like the royal. I think, the NFL as a whole already has like a really dark, kind of muted color palette, especially with the way like trends are going. Everybody's going all black or all navy. I thought it was unique to be royal in this yellow, so I kept it.
Yeah, your yellow was a little bit different, but than I think the current one. It's even a little bit darker, I think. Because Adams is a little more lemony, I think, or maybe I'm just misreading it here.
I really quick wanted to go back and touch on Adams because I think that type is really awesome. I think that screams LA to me at least. I think it's I think it's really cool. I'm into it.
Let's see if I can get it without a glare. There's what I was trying to do at one point.
That's cool. Awesome.
But I don't know. I wasn't sure if it really worked.
I think it was working. I think it was working.
Well, I shouldn't have bailed on it, I guess.
You know what? That actually brings up something interesting I'd like to talk about. Is do you guys have who's your dude or girl or whatever that you show your work in progress to on Instant Messenger or whatever? You know, like I'm like I have a handful of people that are like, hey, what do you think of this? What am I not seeing here? Is this working? Is this not working? Do you guys have a sounding board like that when you're working?
Yeah, I do. A while back, let's see, Brandon Moore, Kyle Van Cleve, Dylan Winters, Justin Wilkinson, I think. We just, I don't remember how it started, but we just started a Twitter, a DM group chat type thing. And
that's cool.
Yeah, I bounced some of these off of them.
Well, whoever told you not to go with that one, the script.
Oh, I'm going to bring it up to them. Don't worry.
You're going to get kicked out. Okay.
Yeah, here, and I did. This is the last one, but I did find this one too.
Oh, that's cool too.
Sorry, my screen's terribly dirty because I have young children who like to watch YouTube on it. So, and I think ultimately, like, I kind of fell in love with the abstract LNA, and that's why I kind of wanted to stick with that one. But
I'm glad you brought it up because I did not see it. Did you see it, CJ?
I did not. No.
You know, one of the hardest aspects of this stupid Super Design Bowl bullshit is that normally when you make a logo, you can show the whole suite. You show what it looks like in the uniform, the helmet, what it looks like in the stadium, what it looks like painted on the grass, you know, the whole thing. But then when you're limited to just trying to sell in a whole idea with just one image, I think it's really difficult.
Yeah. I like to try to hide things too, and that kind of has bit me in the ass. Because people tell me now that as soon as they see something that I do, especially, and these are people that aren't even designers, that they start looking for hidden stuff.
Yeah.
Which just means they're disappointed if there's not anything. So it kind of worked against me there.
Oh man. Okay, CJ. Now it's your turn in the grinder. First of all, congratulations on your epic win. Your ring is in the mail.
I'll look forward to it.
So you know what? So if I could, well, let's hear your creative process. So where did you start? How did you think about this? And then maybe this was something you had been thinking about because this to do the Rams was, I think, your idea initially.
Yeah.
So let's hear it.
So I mean, I've been thinking about it. I think internally, like I went through a couple different ideas. But I'm somebody that likes to work under pressure, and I worked on this Sunday before it was supposed to be submitted. So
yeah,
I kind of, I watched this during the divisional matchup or the wild card matchup or whatever, the Seahawks. And I thought about ways to incorporate what worked in the old logos with that horn, which is not a perfect circle. It's not going to be a perfect circle because it's nature. It's not like that. and I just tried to make it all work. And I like the left side of it. I like the Ram, but in hindsight, I don't know how well the A kind of comes across.
But does it need to? I don't know.
I don't know. I mean,
it's
I tried
implied.
to use the I to be that counter of the A, and that the proportions were kind of off, and that didn't really work out either. So
yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, if you were to give it, if you put it in the statement, like if you like, I think it would still be legible, right? Because it's not you're not people know what the LA Rams are, so it's not like a new entity that you have to over explain or overshow the A. Hiding the A in there, I think works.
I think the part that comes up under is the neck really helps out too.
Yeah.
Just that little like cut in there really kind of drives it home. That's the A for me.
I agree, and I think some of the issues we had with this logo, with the fiddle, with the mouth and the eye and stuff like that, you actually addressed those really well here. Simplified them, made them more like an icon. It works really well. I like the, so if we follow some of the lines, there's a pretty nice balance. So like this line of the A goes into the horn and then comes out into the snout, and then even this line here kind of points us into. I think it just flows. It flows well. It looks good to me. I like it. So do you start with a sketch, or are you straight to the machine on this thing?
I used to sketch a lot, but I just, like Adam, I go into Procreate. It's just I'm not a pretty sketcher, so my sketches never look very good, and so they tend to be messy with a lot of erasing and papers everywhere. So it's a very clean, concise process for me now. Just sketching and throw a different layer or whatever.
Yeah.
And just kind of go from there.
I like the fact that you can, if you like the direction you're going in, you can just copy that layer and go one direction with it, and then you still have the other one to go the other direction.
Yeah.
You don't have to try and replicate it. It saves a lot of time in my book.
100%.
Well, I think this is really successful. Did you ever play with the idea of putting like a highlight or a white in here, or the balance of it?
No, the reason I didn't was because I actually really like the way the helmets look now, but the horn is just not. It doesn't really read as a horn as well. So I wanted to do one color. I wanted to separate everything, to kind of keep it clean like that. I imagine it would look, give it some more depth if you added a highlight in there, or even introduce another shade of gold like they did.
Have you guys ever, if you guys want to have fun with sports logos, have you guys ever gone to the fans Reddit page? Like if you go to the LA Rams Reddit page and you post your redesign of their logo on their Reddit page, you can have a blast. A couple years ago, I redid the Bears logo and I posted it on the Bears page. Oh my God. It's hilarious. People are getting so angry at me. They get so angry about logos. It'd be a fun experiment to just throw your Rams logos on the Reddit page and see what happens. It's because like if not to go on a whole Bears conversation, but the Bears logo is it's kind of like an early Rams logo. It's kind of a mess, right? It's like it's not well. It's like it looked like it's been photocopied over and over a bunch of times, and so I did a cleanup job basically on it. Didn't really change the idea, and they got so fucking angry at me.
It's like the brand new section, comment section.
Oh yeah.
They just nothing's ever going to be good enough.
But
it's weird with sports logos though. Like people don't want to change.
Yeah.
They really identify themselves in those logos, right? Like it's avatars for them as a person.
Oh yeah, I actually I did like a concept one time and just showed it to a person at the school. It was a college, and they were like, "Don't put this on the internet because we don't want like old men that are angry calling us and chewing us out for changing the logo that didn't even happen." And I was like, "Okay, yeah.
Wow.
It's a wacky world we live in.
Yeah.
Friend. Well, I want to thank you both for participating in this, and I really enjoyed your concepts, and I think it was really interesting to talk about. Tell the people at home where they can follow you or find you on the internet or hire you to design their kid's birthday party for them.
I'm on Dribble, my website, and Instagram, CJ Zilligen.
And I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and my website is yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll have links. I'll have links to everything in the show description, in there. Thanks a lot, fellas. I guess Joe couldn't join us. Something must have happened.
And I'll when this pandemic's over, well, I'll have to go up to Greenville and buy CJ a beer for the win.
He owes you a beer, I think, because he
I think
paid off
a couple of them.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm glad I could make a connection between two South Carolina boys now. Thanks so much, guys. And let me know if you ever want to battle it out again or have a great idea for a logo. Just let me know, and I'll make it happen.
Good stuff.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, you too.
Bye.